Hello and welcome to the Enterprise Review, Programme 4.
In this programme, we'll be looking at everyday life in the UK. What is it that makes the country tick? What do people do for jobs and holidays? Where do they go for entertainment? What do they eat? How do they celebrate? Plus an adventure story from Britain's history book.
Want to find out more? Well, stick with me, Jake Martin, for my own special tour through life in the UK.
Module 1. People and Places. First, let's look at some of the jobs people do. People and jobs.
Hi, I'm Jenny and I'm a business manager. I have to be efficient and careful to do my job quickly and accurately.
Hello, I'm Steve and I'm a photographer. I have to be patient and creative to take my photographs efficiently.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm a policeman. I have to be fit and observant to do my job thoroughly.
Time to take another look at those jobs to see what you remember. This is Jenny. She's a business manager. She has to be efficient and careful to do her job quickly and accurately. This is Chris. He's a policeman and he has to be fit and observant to do his job thoroughly. This is Steve and he's a photographer. He has to be patient and creative to take his photographs efficiently.
So there's a handful of different jobs. But how do you get a job in the first place? Probably by going for an interview.
So, we're going to show you two versions of a job interview. One where the applicant says all the wrong things. But first, here's an applicant who really wants the job.
Could you tell me where you saw the advert for this job, please?
Yes, in the Cambridge Evening News.
And have you got your CV with you?
Yes, I have indeed.
Excellent, thank you. Well, you've had some good experience. Could I ask you what relevant experience you have for this job?
Well, yeah, I was the catering manager at a large hotel for a number of years where I organised and oversaw conference meals, wedding meals and such like.
That's fine. And could you tell me why you left your previous job?
Well, I felt I wanted to pursue a more professional and a more advanced career, and I think a business manager of a small company like this would be perfect for me.
Excellent. Any questions you'd like to ask us?
Yes, what are the working hours for this job?
The working hours are 9 to 5:30, that's Monday to Friday. You might be asked to work the occasional weekend, but we do pay overtime for that.
Right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And now for the next applicant, Claire. And she's really nervous.
Thanks for coming in, Claire. Can I ask you where you saw the advert for this job?
I can't really remember because I go to so many job positions. Maybe it was in the local newspaper or a friend of mine told me. I can't remember.
Okay. Have you brought your CV with you?
No, I'm afraid I left it on the train.
Could you tell me about any relevant experience you might have?
I haven't actually had any relevant experience, but I can tell you about my hobbies. I like to play tennis and I like to go shopping and I like to travel, but that's about it.
Okay. Could you tell me about why you left your previous job?
Yes, I found my previous boss very irritating and I didn't like the way she criticised me for silly little things like being about 5 minutes late for work.
Right. Any questions you'd like to ask us?
Yes, would it be possible for me to start work late in the morning because I have trouble getting out of bed in the morning? Obviously I'll work later in the day.
So what kind of reference would those two candidates get?
Let's find out as the personnel manager checks out the references. First, the guy who really wants the job.
Who's applied for a job with us?
Oh yes.
What would you say his strengths were?
He's reliable, hard-working and he gets on with everyone.
Good. And how often was he absent?
He worked for us for a year and I think he only had 3 days off in all that time.
So you'd recommend him to us, would you?
Absolutely. Could be a real help to your company.
Thanks for your help.
Not at all. If there's any other help I can give you, just call.
Goodbye.
And now, the applicant who got it all wrong.
Hello, I'm calling about Claire Jenkins, who's applied for a job with us.
Right, okay.
What would you say her strengths were?
Well, she's reliable, but very nervous. I think she's best working on her own rather than with other people. Does that help?
Yes, of course. And how often was she absent?
Well, she didn't take many days off, but to be honest, the problem was getting her into the office first thing in the morning. I think she found it difficult, to get going. She was often late.
So would you recommend her to us?
Yes, if you're a patient, mind. I can say she's very loyal and hardworking.
Thanks for your help.
That's all right. Would you like me to send across a written reference for you?
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Whatever kind of job you get in the UK, the chances are that you'll be working with other people. So communication skills are really important. And of course, being ready to help people when it's needed.
Can I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for a friend of mine. We're meeting here for lunch.
What does she look like?
She's got fair hair, early 20s. Her name's Sue Temple. She's probably wearing a green jacket.
Okay, I'll have a quick look in the dining room, and if she's not there, I'll go to reception and ask them to put a message out over the intercom.
Excellent. Thanks very much.
That's okay, don't worry, we'll find her if she's here.
It's good to be helpful, but sometimes even your friends can be a bit too helpful. Zoe is trying to get away on holiday, but her friend James just won't let her get on with the packing and getting ready.
Now then, you mustn't forget your passport.
No, James, it's here.
Good, right. And don't try to pack too many things in your suitcase.
I know that, James.
You must fold your clothes. Just fold them. They'll fit easier if you do. Oh, and when you get to the airport, you should try and get some bottles of water, the small ones. You should always drink lots of water on a long flight.
I've already thought of that. That's why I'm taking a small bottle of water with me. Is there anything else?
Well, yes, actually. When you get there, if it's hot and you're in the sun, you must wear lots of suntan cream to stop you from burning.
You know what, James? You sound more and more like my grandfather every day.
James was just trying to say the right things, but I think he probably gave a bit too much advice. What was it he said to Zoe?
Zoe mustn't forget her passport. And she shouldn't try to pack too many things into the suitcase. She must fold her clothes because they'll fit better if she does. Zoe must drink lots of water on her flight. And when she gets to her holiday destination, she must put on plenty of suntan cream to stop her from burning. Places to visit. Britain is a great country with lots of things to see and do. But where should you go if you want a weekend break?
London is a great place with terrific shopping and great sightseeing, but it is very expensive. So lots of people choose one of Britain's historic towns. Let's take a look at two of them now.
Canterbury is in the south of England. It's a very old town with narrow streets. There are shops, cafes and restaurants, but no traffic in the middle of the town, which makes it a good place for sightseeing. Canterbury's main tourist attraction is its cathedral. It's a famous and beautiful building with 2 million visitors a year. York is in the north of England. It's also a very old town with streets that are so narrow that the roofs of the houses on each side of the street almost touch each other. Many of the streets are cobbled with old stones. York's main tourist attraction is the Jorvik Centre. It's built on the site of the town's Viking settlement. When you tour around Jorvik, you can experience what it was like to live in York more than 1,000 years ago.
Let's have another look at those two towns and their main attractions.
Canterbury is in the south of England. It's a very old town with narrow streets. There's no traffic in the middle of the town. Canterbury's main tourist attraction is its cathedral. York is in the north of England. Many of the streets are cobbled with old stones. York's main tourist attraction is the Jorvik Centre.
My personal favourite is Canterbury because I love the atmosphere in the town. And there's a great Spanish restaurant in the centre.
But if you fancy a holiday further away, in Europe, You can arrange it by going to a travel agent.
Me and 3 friends are really interested in going to Spain for a holiday.
Okay, when would you like to go?
The end of May, there's a college half term.
That would be a good time to go. The weather's not too hot, it's nice and warm. How about Marbella? It's on the south coast. There's some information in here you'd like to look at.
There'd be 4 of us, so we'd need 2 rooms as well.
Okay.
How much would that cost?
Well, that works out to about £350 per person, so that's £1,400 for the week.
And what would that include?
That includes your transport to the airport, flights and half board at the hotel.
Sounds good. Can I pay by credit card?
Yes, you could. Would you like me to write some information down for you so you can take it away and think about it?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
But nowadays, there are other ways to book your holiday, other than going to a travel agent. You can look at the brochures in your own home and then book on the internet.
Students often think about going away for a holiday when they've finished their exams, but these two disagree about where to go.
I think we should go to Australia. Sydney looks like a great city, no?
It seems okay, but I reckon somewhere closer, like Italy. We can get a hotel by the beach, and then go sunbathing during the day, and then clubbing at night.
I see what you're saying, but we could go to Italy any time. Australia seems far more interesting.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem worth going to Australia just for 2 weeks.
Ooh, nearly an argument there. But Tom and Jack are friends, so whether they end up going to Australia, Italy, or just stay at home, I'm sure they'll work things out. But sometimes, when you are away on holiday, things just keep going wrong. Take a look at this.
Can I help you, sir?
Yes. My room hasn't been cleaned and the bed hasn't been made.
What room number, sir?
Number 27, on the 2nd floor.
I'll see that somebody does it straight away.
I also asked for a 7 o'clock wake-up call this morning, but the system didn't work. I overslept and I missed my breakfast.
I'll see that doesn't happen tomorrow morning.
Would you do that for me, please? I shall also expect a reduction in my bill if the service doesn't improve.
Let's hope we can improve it.
I do hope so.
Wherever you stay in Britain, I'm sure you'll have a better experience than that.
So let's round up. Here's our Enterprise holiday recommendations. Choose London for the perfect mix of sightseeing and shopping. Lots to see and lots to do. And don't forget to take a ride on one of London's famous double-decker buses. If you'd like a bit of history, head for York or Canterbury. Narrow streets, old world charm, and some great buildings to look around. Perfect if you like a bit of peace and quiet and not too much traffic. And if you're in the mood for a longer trip, pop into a travel agent and see what they have to offer. You can choose from a few days in Europe to something much further away.
But wherever you go and whatever you do, enjoy your holiday.
Stories.
Lots of people visit Britain to see its historical sites, and there are many true adventure stories linked to these old buildings.
This is Boscobel House in the Midlands, secret hiding place of King Charles II before he became king. In 1651, Charles was on the run to avoid capture after being defeated at the Battle of Worcester. One wrong move and Charles would have been caught and killed. Here's what happened. Night was approaching when Charles arrived at a house belonging to his friends and allies. He was desperate and exhausted. A servant, William Penderell, answered the door.
"Please, hide me from the soldiers, Mr. Servant,"
pleaded Charles. "We can't hide you here," said Penderell. "It's too dangerous. I can take you to another house where my mother lives, but it's a long walk and we must disguise you." The servant cut off Charles's long curly hair and his moustache and then made a lotion from walnut juice. He spread the lotion on Charles's face so that he looked as brown and sunburned as if he'd worked outside all his life. Then, as darkness fell, they set off. Luckily, they avoided being seen. All night long they travelled through a forest to a house called Boscobel, which was hidden deep amongst the trees. It was dawn when they arrived at Boscobel, and William Penderell's mother opened the door to them. "Soldiers are everywhere," said Mrs. Penderell, "and they might even search Boscobel. but there are many trees in the forest. You must hide in the branches of one of the trees until the soldiers go." Charles found an oak tree not far from the house. He climbed up, hid amongst the branches, and waited. Before long he heard the voices of soldiers and the swish of their swords.
"Please, don't look up,"
whispered Charles to himself. Finally, the soldiers moved off, but Charles was too terrified to move in case they returned. At last, William Penderell came to the foot of the tree.
"I can't let them find me, but I can't spend another day in this tree. Oh, I'm so stiff I can hardly move."
"Come back into the house," said William. "There is a secret hiding place. It's very small and cramped, but we must risk it." On the top floor of the house, William pulled back a rug covering the wooden floor. Then he put his finger into a little hole in the floor and gently lifted up a hidden trapdoor. Underneath was a tiny box-like room, which was so small that Charles had to sit with his knees drawn up under his chin. He stayed there overnight, hardly sleeping. The next day, William and his mother came up with a plan to get Charles out of the country. Living nearby were a family called the Lanes, who had a daughter called Jane. They knew that the soldiers were looking for a man with black curly hair and a moustache. But Charles was dressed in scruffy clothes and was brown as a nut, so the Lane family were sure that the soldiers would never look too closely at a lady travelling with such a shabbily dressed servant.
"I'm just a poor servant,"
said Charles. Not one soldier stopped them, and Charles escaped overseas. Later, when he became king, he remembered his day in the oak tree and his night in the secret room at Boscobel, and told everybody.
"I gave the Penderells a huge reward."
In fact, you can still see the secret hiding place under the floor at Boscobel, and the oak tree which concealed Charles is still in the grounds at Boscobel, nearly 500 years after Charles hid in its branches.
But let's take another look at the two places Charles hid when he was escaping from the soldiers who were after him. The house where he hid was called Boscobel, and it's in the Midlands. For a whole day, Charles hid amongst the branches of an oak tree. At night, Charles hid in a tiny box-shaped room underneath the floor of Boscobel House. You can still see the secret hiding place inside Boscobel House where Charles hid, and the oak tree outside in the grounds of Boscobel House. End of Module 1. Module 2. Pleasant and nasty experiences.
Britain doesn't have extremes of climate. The summer is not too hot and the winter is never too cold. As a result, few natural disasters happen in the UK.
Disasters and accidents. The most likely natural disaster is flooding. Sometimes in the late autumn or early spring, when it rains a lot, the river levels can rise so high that low-lying towns and cities are flooded. But the British are good at dealing with disasters and usually remain cheerful and calm.
Road accidents are a different matter.
Britain is a crowded country with lots of traffic and lots of roads. Accidents can happen anywhere, and especially on foggy days or on winter days, when the roads are covered in ice and very dangerous.
If there is a road accident, eyewitnesses are very important, and the police try to get accurate accounts from anyone who saw the accident. So what makes a good eyewitness? Well, we asked Police Inspector Chris Nevitt to tell us.
First of all, it's someone who doesn't panic when they see something happening or when they're talking to us. Secondly, they need to pay attention to the detail of what is happening. And thirdly, they need to be able to tell us clearly afterwards what they've seen. So that someone who doesn't panic, pays attention to detail, and calmly tells us afterwards in a clear way what's happened. And all those three things will make a good eyewitness.
Accidents happen very quickly, and often it's very difficult to remember exactly what happened. So to find out how much people remember, the Enterprise Review invited 3 people to our studio to watch footage of the same accident. And then afterwards, we asked each of them individually what happened. We'll find out how they got on in a moment, but first, let's watch the accident on film. Okay, first Zoe's turn. What does she remember seeing?
Well, the old man was on the bike, swerving quite, along on the road, and he was followed by a red lorry, which I feel was far too close, possibly putting him under pressure. And on the other side of the road, a white car came along, and there was no room for the two cars to pass. And I feel that it was the lorry's fault again, putting pressure on the man, and the man was hit by the white car.
Next, Jack. What does he remember seeing?
Well, what I saw, the gentleman on the bike was wobbling about a bit in the road and the lorry was unable to overtake him. A few moments later, the white car came in the opposite direction. The man on the bike went to turn right without signalling and got hit by the car.
And finally, Tom. What does he remember seeing?
Well, an elderly gentleman was cycling, closely followed by a red lorry. He swerved into the middle of the road just as a white Ford was coming in his direction, and he got knocked off his bicycle.
Here's another look at the accident footage so you can decide for yourself what happened and which of the eyewitnesses was the most accurate.
That was a reconstruction, but what about real accidents? Back to Jake.
I'm out and about in Cambridge to find out exactly what happens when people get involved in an accident. Have you ever been involved in an accident?
Well, yes, about a year ago.
And what happened?
Well, I was cycling along the road and I cycled into a car door which opened straight in front of me and I went right over the handlebars.
What happened next?
Well, I went to hospital and they did a few x-rays and they put my neck in a brace for a few days.
And how did it all turn out in the end?
Well, I had a bit of a stiff neck, but apart from that I was fine, luckily.
Right, thanks very much. Have you ever been involved in an accident?
Yeah, I was involved in an accident when I was about 9 on a skiing holiday.
How did it happen?
Well, I saw a jump in the distance and I was going far too fast and I hit it all wrong and landed really badly.
And what happened next?
I broke my leg just below the knee.
And how did it all turn out in the end?
Well, my dad took me down to the hospital on his shoulders and I was in plaster for about 6 weeks, but after that I was okay.
Back now to our police advisor, Inspector Chris Nevitt, to find out what we should do in an emergency like a fire or a road accident. What's his advice?
Well, first and foremost, you've got to look after your own safety. You've got to be in a safe place before you do anything else. Then either use a mobile phone or get someone to go to a phone and contact the emergency services. When you've done that, you can then look to see if you can be of help to the people involved. But you've got to look after your own safety and get the emergency services on their way before you do anything else.
Remember, accidents and disasters aren't as frequent as it might seem from this report. Most people go on from day to day without accidents or emergency. So when you've finished watching this programme, don't have nightmares about what might happen to you.
Festivals and celebrations.
The British are very fond of their celebrations and festivals. And throughout the year in Britain, certain days are set aside for such events. Now, everybody knows about Christmas and Easter, but there's one traditional English event which is less well known, and that's Bonfire Night.
Bonfire Night takes place on November the 5th each year. Early in the evening, once it's really dark, most communities have their own bonfire party. Once the fire is alight, it's time for fireworks. It's a spectacular and noisy sight, but very good fun for everyone and a real community party. It's traditional to eat toffee apples on Bonfire Night, but some people prefer a hot burger on a cold night. And children really enjoy lighting sparklers. Bonfire Night is a community party. But what if you'd like to hold your own party? We set our reporter Jake Martin the challenge of setting up a party in 2 days. We join him on Friday morning.
It's Friday morning, and the challenge is to set up a party for Saturday evening in just 2 days. The first step, make sure the next door neighbours are okay with it.
No, I don't mind you having a party at your house, as long as you don't make too much noise. But can you put a notice on your front door asking your guests not to park in front of my garage, please? I do hope it goes well, and try not to make too much noise, you might frighten the dog.
Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon. Next step, sort out the party guests. Best done on the phone, I reckon. Hi Barney, it's Jake.
Oh, hi Jake, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Listen, I'm having a party tomorrow night. Do you want to come?
Yeah, sure, what time?
It's going to start about 9.
That sounds fine. I'll see you tomorrow then.
Great. I'll see you then.
All right then, bye.
Hello there, Matt. It's Jake here.
Hello Jake, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Listen, I'm having a party tomorrow night. Do you fancy coming along?
Sure, but I can't get there until about 12. Is that okay?
That's fine. Just get here whenever you can.
All right, cool. See you tomorrow then.
See you tomorrow. Hi, is that Gail?
Yes, this is Gail.
Hi, Gail. It's Jake here. How are you?
Oh, hi Jake, I'm fine.
Now, what are you up to tomorrow night?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, there's a party at my place tomorrow, and I wondered if you and possibly Amy want to come along.
Well, I'd have to ask her.
Well, I'm sure that you can talk her into it, so I'll see you tomorrow at my place at 9.
All right then, bye.
See you, Gail. Hi, Louise.
Hello.
Hiya, it's Jake here. How are you?
Oh, hello, darling. I'm fine. How are you?
Yes, I'm really well. Now listen, are you free tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm free. What have you got in mind?
Good. Well, there's a party. It's at my place and it's around 9 o'clock.
Oh, I'll definitely be there then.
Okay. Well, I'll see you then.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Just a few hours to go before the party. And I've decided to hire someone to do the music. A travelling disco. That should do the trick. Hello, is that King Dex, the DJ?
It is, yeah.
Right. I'm having a party, and I just wondered if you'd be able to organise the music for me.
You're in luck, because I'm normally booked up on Saturdays, but I've had a cancellation this week, so I can DJ at your party.
Great. How long can you play for?
How about 3 one-hour sessions? First one starting at 9, another one at 10:30, and then the last one at midnight.
That's perfect.
What kind of music do you want?
I guess a kind of a party mix. How much do you charge?
£75 for the evening, okay?
That's fine. I'm at number 34 Newton Road.
Right, that's just off Long Road, isn't it?
That's the one.
Okay, see you there.
Okay.
Bye.
Saturday afternoon.
Saturday afternoon. Time for a bit of last minute shopping. This party is going to have good food as well as the entertainment. I'm planning to make a big hot dish with chicken and rice with salad so people can tuck in whenever they want. Plus, I need to top up on the soft drinks. Cokes. Juice. Plenty of chilled water.
Back at Jake's house, food is being prepared, and with 2 hours to go, it looks like Jake is going to meet the party challenge.
Oh, okay. So it's about 2 hours to the party. The food is cooking and all the salads are done. Mr. Dexon's music should be here about 8 o'clock. The neighbours are happy and all the invites are out. Should be a very good night. And there's just time for a quick shower. Do 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 do. La da 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 da. Do you mind? Well, this is my party and it's private in here. Go and find your own party. Do 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 la da da da.
Eating habits. Britain is a very cosmopolitan country. Take a look around most towns and cities in the UK and you can find lots of restaurants selling lots of different types of food. They say that Britain's #1 favourite restaurant food is chicken tikka from an Indian restaurant. And it's true, there are Indian restaurants everywhere. But fish and chips is also a very popular meal. Join the queue and you'll get your fish and chips, complete with salt and vinegar, ready to take home and wrapped in newspaper to keep it warm. Then again, fast food restaurants are everywhere. Burger, pizza, kebabs, whatever you fancy can be ready for you to eat in a couple of minutes.
That still doesn't stop people from going to a restaurant for a proper sit-down meal. And here's how to order.
Hello. Are you ready to order?
Yes, we are.
What would you like for starters?
I would like the seafood salad, please.
And I'll have the goat cheese salad with tomato.
With tomato. What would you like for your main?
I would like the mushroom omelette and fries, please.
That's okay.
And fish pie with vegetables for me, please.
Okay. Would you like any desserts?
Can we choose that later?
Yeah, no problem. Would you like a drink with your meal?
A bottle of sparkling mineral water, please.
Okay. Thank you.
If you've been out for a meal at a restaurant, you might be asked your opinion about the food you've eaten.
So come on then, what was it like?
What?
The new Italian restaurant. You were meant to go there last Saturday night.
The Sorrento? Oh yes, we did go in the end.
And?
And the pizzas were delicious.
Whereabouts is it, did you say?
It's well hidden. You know the main shopping centre in the town?
Oh yes.
Well, next to the big bookshop, there's a sort of little alleyway.
Oh, Back Lane runs alongside the bookshop.
Yes, that's it. If you go all the way down Back Lane, take a right at the end, it's the third building in on the opposite side of the road, next to the toy shop, I believe.
Oh, I know where it is. Yeah, I'll have to try that sometime.
It's well worth a visit.
If you're on holiday in Britain and want something to eat, here's a top tip.
Look out for the places where there's lots of people. You'll often find the busier the restaurant, the better the food. But wherever you go, enjoy your meal.
End of Module 2.